tear, it falls and hits the ground. A tree, it falls without a sound. A bird, it calls and sends you home. A man, he sits in the cold all alone.
Hi, Monica. Thank you so much for joining me on The Joy of Sunflowers. Please introduce yourself a little bit more.
Yes, hello, Ella. Thank you so much first for having me in your summit. I really feel very honored and happy. For the ones that don't know me, my name is Monica Bivas. I am an IVF fertility coach. I am also an IVF warrior and a fertility advocate. I am originally from Colombia, but I live in New York. And I am also a mother of two beautiful IVF girls. One is 17 and one is 9. I have a stepdaughter whom is 22 years old, and I am married 20 years ago with my husband, whom is from Israel. That's a little bit of, making my bio short and for people to know a little bit about who I am.
Lovely. Yeah. Gosh, very worldly.
Thank you so much.
So let's dive right in and start from the beginning. So did you always know you wanted to be a mum, or was it something that you sort of moved towards?
I will say that it's something that I moved towards because honestly, I really didn't want to have children. So when I met my husband, I was actually 29, almost 30 years old. And I think that the fact that I met him and when I moved to the States and I met my stepdaughter, in that time she was 1 year and 4 months, and she used to come and visit, during the week and then every other weekend. I kind of connect with that motherhood feeling. Although before I married him, I was not into children, not because I didn't like children, but because I thought the world was too crazy to have children. And look how it is now, it's even worse. You know how it's like. I was thinking, but why I need to have children, if the world is so crazy. So I was in that, even though I was 29, I always had this very young spirit. I never was scared to have that belief that in my culture, especially in Latin culture, if you are over 25 and you are not married, oh my God, you are already old. You will not find no one. You're going to stay like dressing saints in the church, something like that. So I remember my aunts telling me, but you are 29. You're supposed to be married and have kids. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to live life being single, enjoy, travel, still party. That's my soul. Is very young. But then when my sister, my middle sister, she got pregnant when she was 17, and then she had a baby about 18. And my nephew, whom today is 26, he was the one that started to wake up that on me, but subconsciously, like in the back of my head, I didn't, because I was thinking, for me, it's very important. That's my personal opinion, that a child have a full nuclear family, a mother figure, a father figure, and all around that, because each gender, talking openly, mom and dad, give a different perspective of parenthood and create balance. So yes, beautiful, but I was single, so it was just in the back of my mind. So when I met my husband in Match.com at the age of the end of the year of 2002, I was almost getting to my 30s. We, fall in love like right away. He was here in the States, I was in Colombia, and we chat, and he went to visit me. And he told me I have a daughter. He showed me the pictures, and it was so beautiful. But when I came here, I kind of connect with that complete. So my nephew kind of created, Daniela, my stepdaughter, kind of bloomed that feeling. And every time she used to leave, I felt that emptiness. So I said, no, 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 no. I need to have my own child now. Motherhood is calling me. No matter how the world it is, how you get into that mindset. I want to be a mom. And Ella, I kind of took it for granted. Why? Because from my mom's side, I come from a very big family. My mom, my grandmother and my grandfather, my mom parents, they had 18 kids from the both of them. Same mom, same dad, 18. 9 girls, 9 boys. We are 243 cousins. My grandfather died at 102 years old, and he met his sixth generation, actually. He was a great great grandfather. So everybody in my mom family, they got pregnant with the blow of a kiss. So I am like, okay, so I just need to start to work on it and I'm gonna get pregnant with the blow of a kiss. But it didn't happen to me. I was the only one from all the 243 cousins that had the fertility issue. So God put me there a little star, which I am today grateful for, which maybe I have the opportunity to say why, but it was struggling, So we were trying with my husband for about 3 months. I see I don't get pregnant, and I start even to think, oh my God, something is wrong with me. The guy has a daughter. My family is full of kids. They get pregnant in a matter of a month, and I'm not. So he was telling me, no, it's only 3 months. Found my doctor, went to him. He told me the same. Most couples have struggled to get pregnant in the beginning because of stress, anxiety, work, this, that. So try for a year. We did that, nothing happened. And eventually, to make the story short, we did all the tests. Both of us are good, the basic panels of hormones and this. Everything came up okay. And then my doctor says we need to move on with more detailed tests, like a thyroid panel and then physical tests going in to check my fallopian tubes, my uterus shape. Something is not good, or is not, my body is telling me something. We found out through a stereosalpingogram that my both fallopian tubes were blocked due to endometriosis stage 4. And I didn't even know that I had endometriosis. How I knew, how my doctor diagnosed me? Because he asked me, talk to me about your periods. How were your periods from the moment you got your first period up to now? So my periods were always regular, never not regular, but they were very heavy. They last up to 8-9 days. I bleed the heck out. I became anemic. I used to faint and lose consciousness from the pain. And there was times that either it was 1 month, the right leg was totally not responding, or the left leg. All an inflammation that I couldn't even walk. I couldn't walk. So, but because my aunts and my mom had kind of similar symptoms, so you never think it's something. You say, oh, it's genetic. No, all that symptoms are endometriosis. So my endometriosis went so advanced, and in Colombia, because I was not interested in having kids, so I didn't pay attention on that. So the scar tissue of the heaviness of the period, the dry blood, blocked totally my tubes. We did here too. So my doctor says, I think the only way that you can get pregnant is IVF. He sent me to a reproductive endocrinologist, a wonderful one. And he was so kind and so conscious. He told me, let's try to do our last attempt to see if you can get pregnant naturally. We can do a laparoscopy to try to clean both fallopian tubes. Maybe one can be open, and then you can try to get pregnant, because he himself, being an endocrinologist for the reproductive, medicine, he said in vitro is very stressful financially, it's very consuming. So, but if this doesn't work, I'll help you. I have good prices. My clinic is small, but I can help you. We did that, and it didn't happen. So our only choice was in vitro. He did my first IVF. He was incredible. And he even told me that he never saw a woman so fertile, producing such a good quality of eggs. And he even told me, I think that it's good that you are blocked, because if not, you will be every 9 months pregnant. That was his words. And that gave me so much confidence on that the thing will be work. And it worked. My first IVF worked. Is now my 17-year-old daughter, Elia. But in that time, Ella, nobody told us, not even him, because his clinic was very small. He has a small team, and he really was helping so many couples. The times that we used to wait with him was 2-3 hours, but all worth it. I never. So there was no someone that, as today, could tell us, listen, you can freeze your eggs, or you can your embryos, or you can do a frozen transfer, and less invasive treatments. So we just were happy having IVF, and we said, okay, so maybe in 2-3 years we come back to him, we do another IVF. And if the first, again, look how human nature it is, we take things for granted, and I have learned that that's not the right thing to do. And I said, okay, if the first IVF work, it's gonna work again. So we did that, and 2 years and a half, we came back to him. We did our second cycle. In that time, he was changing some people from his team. And unfortunately, one of the nurses, when she called me, she got confused with another chart, with a chart of another patient, and they gave me the wrong amount of medicine. I got OHSS, my ovaries became balloony, pain to the heck, you have no idea, and they had to cancel the cycle. So it was, clinical error. My husband was super upset. He called the doctor, screamed at him, and he said, "You are completely right." He went in to look into that, and he said, "We need to wait for Monica, like to clean up her body between 3 to 6 months. You come back, I do another cycle, no charge. I personally take care of her with everything." We did exactly as he said. We did our third cycle with him. I got pregnant. We transferred in that time, that was actually 15 years ago. I could transfer 3 to 4 embryos. Today you can transfer only one, all over, most in the places. I got pregnant. I was 37 in the time, and the pregnancy was good. We did amniocentesis because of my age. They want to make sure the baby is okay. It was a baby girl. But then I will say that around week 28, 29, that's what the doctors think, I start to develop some blood clotting issue, phospholipid something, and a blood clot in the umbilical cord at 39 weeks. I had a stillbirth baby girl, Isabel. She died, and I had to go and deliver my baby. So it was devastating. So basically, my first cycle was success, but then the other cycles was nightmare. So this kind of course, it was devastating. I didn't know even how to take it. Never happened to me. And it's something that I don't wish to anyone, because losing a child has no meaning, no words, no definition. It's completely unbearable, and it was very hard. It affected a lot my relationship with my husband. So I was so mentally in denial, and in non-accepting the situation, that I just basically put pressure on my husband to jump right away, like a month and a half later, into another IVF, because of course I wanted to feel that emptiness. And my doctor said, "I don't do it. You need to grieve. You need to mentally get better. You need to go through the process." And I screamed at him. I was very upset on him. And he told me, "I don't do it, but I can give you another RE. I don't want to take that responsibility, because I think you need to heal first." I went to the RE that he sent me, Dr. Mukherjee in RMA from Manhattan. Beautiful people, also amazing doctor. He also told me the same. But I basically put him and my husband against the wall. It's like, I guess I told him, my God, it's like with an imaginary gun in the head, I want to do it. If not, I'm gonna die. It's something like that, because as a mother, my pain is unbearable. He did it. We did the fourth cycle. I got pregnant, but as my RE and my husband and everybody says, I was not mentally well, and at 7.5 weeks, I miscarried. So this was even the worst drainer. We almost got divorced with my husband, and we got to a point that we went through the process of grieving, he in his way, me in my way. And when we were in this dark place of our marriage being so bad, we kind of stop and say, okay, what are we going to do? So either we part ways, or either we see what we do. As long as there is love, as long as there is love, you can save anything. But when there is no feelings, you can't force something. We love each other very much. There's no doubt. We work on our relationship for about a year. And after a year and 2 months, we decide, okay, we're going to do our last attempt to bring a sibling to Elia. Elia in that time was 6.5, almost 7. And whatever happens, if yes, if no, we stop. We are grateful for what we have. We have a child. Hashem, God gave us. Let's count our blessings. We did that closer to my house with Dr. Brenner, whom he's amazing. We transferred 3 embryos. I got pregnant I was pregnant from twins. In the beginning of the pregnancy, I lost one of the babies but one survived, and she is now my 9-year-old Maya. And actually, when she was born, Ella, I really felt that I healed completely from the loss of Isabel. I believe truly in spirit babies. I truly believe that our children choose us. For example, when a mom or when a woman has multiple recurring miscarriages, I believe 100% that that spirit baby is coming back, 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 back to show I want you to be my mom until that woman gets pregnant and have her baby. So I feel that Maya, it was the same soul of Isabel back to me in the right time, the right moment. Of course, she's unique, but God somehow, that's my feeling, gave back to me that soul and that healed me. Doesn't mean the scar is not there. There's times that I, of course, cry. You know, it's human to feel that, but that's my story. And all this pain, all this hell of things that happened to me is what inspired me to do what I do today. I love what I do. I truly love it. And that's why I say my pain became my purpose. And I am in love with what I do. And my main purpose is help women and couples, you know, all over the world to conceive, to try to conceive the most natural way possible, which is naturally. But if the only choice is the same choice I had to go, as well prepare them and be their emotional and you know mental support, because most clinics don't have that. Of course, doctors work like this, you know, it's patient after patient after patient, but the emotional and psychological and you know compassionate support is really missing. It's a missing piece, and that is a big part on a successful outcome. That's the way I think, and that's my story.
Yeah, wow. That's just there's so much to your story. Gosh, where to begin with questions?
Absolutely, I am an open book.
Yeah, so with your process of loss and grieving, how was that? How did it go? And I know you said that there was a lot of time between you and your husband where things weren't so good and you had a hard time, both of you. So what was your process?
Well, it was really very difficult, you know. One of my aunts actually, she had a stillbirth baby boy when I was probably, I will say maybe 9 or 8. I remember that like yesterday. So when Isabel she used to move a lot. She was a very active baby. So she stopped to move on October 2nd. And I told my husband, I don't feel the baby moving too much. And he said, you know, but remember with Elia, my first one, there was a time, of course, that she didn't move and we freak out because it was our first pregnancy. We went to the hospital. They did the sonogram. The heartbeat is there. The baby's sleeping. She was the most chill baby. She's still a 17-year-old, the chillest person in the world. So he told me, you know, remember with Elia what happened? So I kind of let it go. But in the back of my mind, Ella, I even came and told my mom, you know, I am scared that maybe I'm going to go through the same like my aunt went. And she said, don't say that, you know, like don't put things on that. Somehow my intuition was telling me, but I refused to listen from the fear of, you know, thinking might be true. So once this happened, I'm not going to lie to you, Ella, it's a very difficult thing to handle. I didn't went to therapy. Uh, but because I think that because I have the support of our synagogue, you know, we are Jewish and we belong to a Chabad synagogue, and our rabbi and the community were incredible. We didn't have to pay one penny for the burial of my daughter. One thing, I don't know where she's buried because in our religion, when a baby born, to be able to sit Shiva means to like a funeral in Christianity or other really to have a funeral, the baby needs to be alive for 30 days, not 29, not 28, 30. So because it's something like it doesn't belong to me, belongs much more to, you know, to God. It's more of a kind of that spiritual path. So when that happened, is a rabbi and a little committee of rabbis whom take care of the baby and they go and bury it in a place that only they know. Of course, Jewish cemetery, I don't know, and I am very grateful I don't know, because I would be every day there. So God knows how I follow that kind of things. So my rabbi, the community, they took care of everything. There was a moment that we had to tell the rabbi, please tell the people not to send more food, because it was an every day for about a month and a half, people coming to the house supporting us. So I think that part was a big support for me. My mom is with me since my kids born. So, and well, my husband, and this is the part that with my husband things start to be a little weird, because I learned that we grieve differently. Women, we are very emotional. Men is very rational. They are more mind. And I discovered that they are more mind because they are weaker than us. They have no, yeah, look, they have been raised, and this is in general, I will say all cultures, that because they are the men, they need to be strong. Boys don't cry. Remember that? Boys don't cry. And it's the most silly thing in the world, because we are humans. We both have feminine and male side. Women, us, more feminine, because that's how God created us. And then men a little bit more strong. But to have feelings and emotions is completely valid. So he was really, his grieving was running away from the pain. So he went to work more. He was drinking. He was coming home late. If I would want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. This is scared. So I felt that he really was not connecting with my pain. I judged him like he was without feelings, that he was like a rock, like he didn't care, that he was basically an ass that don't feel. And he was not able to communicate to tell me that it was not that he was feeling a lot of pain, and the only way for him was to run away from the pain because he didn't want to confront it. So that put a strain between us. And another thing that I'm very open to say is, Ella, yes, I thought about taking my life because it's a pain that is unbearable. And it put us in such a selfish mode that I didn't care about my mom, my husband, my daughter, Elia, she was almost 5. I was caring always about my emotional pain, my pain, how I can. But I'm grateful because I am very scared from physical pain, even from a little cut from a paper. I'm like the most chicken. And I was actually looking in the internet, what is the painfulness, the non-painful way to die. And the one that I found really, that was so fun. I know, I laugh now. Like I was looking, and the only way I found, it was not such a legal one. So then my mind goes too far. My mind works very fast. And then my mind is like, okay, so if I do this, and maybe I don't die, they're going to put me in a crazy house with that shirts that tie me up. I'm going to end up in a 4x4 room with the pain, the emotional pain of losing my child, wanting to die, but not being able to do anything. So it's worst. And somehow that clicked on my mind, and I say, you know what? I need to go through the process. I need to grieve, and I need to really wait for what the saying it is. Time heals everything. And I have to be patient. Maybe the time is going to be for me 3 years, 20 years, but I cannot take my life because I'm going to end up in a crazy house. That, like, and slowly, and then we talk with my husband. And don't get me wrong, Ella, marriage is not easy. I'm 20 years married with my husband. And, he also has now a physical condition. And last year we also had a big, big bump. But I guess that, the love and all what we have been through is when you realize, if we've been in hell and we're still here, there is no way to give up. And that's how. But for most people, I will say moms that have recurrent miscarriages or have had stillbirths or have lost even a child on an advanced age, I think that it's very important to have the support. In my case, it was my synagogue, my rabbi, the community. But people that don't have support, I definitely think that therapy is something that is very important. Because when we are in pain, it's very important to take it out, to talk, to, even if it's for to someone that just listen, and someone that is out there to be objective. Because when we keep inside things that we feel, we contaminate us. We need to let them out and feel them. The same way that when we feel happy, if we feel sad, I am for that. If you feel sad and you want to cry, you must allow yourself to feel, because then it's releasing that, and you have space to say, okay, now I am a little calm. Let me see what I can do. And, think a little clear.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I think, I mean, I'm glad you're here, by the way. I'm glad and I like the way you thought about it as well. Like, I don't want to end up in a crazy house. And I think that sometimes I think that is actually what stops some people from doing that. I did go through something like that myself when I was a teenager, like the actual depression and those sorts of thoughts. And I can understand that when you're in that, and just the irrational rationalizations that come in the mind. But yes, I'm very glad that you're here speaking with me. And if anyone else is going through this right now and they're thinking and they've got these thoughts, at some point someone's going to tell you that they're glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, and I don't know how you say when you were teenage, because you look so young. When I saw I'm like, what? She could be my daughter. Oh my goodness. Teenage, probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, I'm turning 30 this year.
And it doesn't look like.
Yeah, no, I've kept like a youthful look. I don't know. My husband said I've always looked like younger than I am, and he said, well, every time I'm pregnant, I look about 15, which is not good.
That's awesome. It's a blessing. You should be grateful.
Good and not good, because people look at me like, how old are you? Like, you get a lot of judgment.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm almost 30, okay? Like, when all through my 20s, I've only had kids in my 20s, and yeah, the judgment is amazing. In a terrible way. But yeah, I'm so glad you had such a great community around you. That's so beautiful, and that you had to turn food away just to stop people coming.
Yes, we have to say, please, we need. And there was even a moment, I tell you something that were, like, it was so strange. People will come, of course, tell me I'm sorry. But what I love, that I think also helped me to kind of go over the bump, was that they will not get stuck talking to me about the subject. They will try to talk about something different and even make me laugh. So there was time that, for example, I will laugh, and then in the back of my mind, I will say, why are you laughing? You just you just lost a baby. And then I've learned also that we are so hard on ourselves. I remember my mom telling me, why you need to think like that? Do you think that your daughter wants you to be all, she's happy wherever she is. God took her wherever she belongs to. And she will not want to see her mom, beating herself because she's laughing. That's what she wants. So it's okay to laugh, even if you lost her yesterday. So, and there was one of the members, a friend of mine, which I had to kind of back off, because when you feel energies that they are not healthy for you, or they are dragging you more into darkness, I am the kind that I run away from that when I analyze. So there was this lady, and I know she did everything from her heart, but there was a moment that when she came, she was just dragging me and dragging me and dragging me and asking too many questions, and even cry more than I cry. And then I'm feeling like maybe I am not feeling the pain like it's supposed to be. I had to get a moment and call my husband and tell him, I need you to get the hell out of here, because I don't feel good. It's bringing me to a very bad place. And he had to tell her, listen, please, I need you to leave. It's not good what is happening today. She's trying to, move on slowly, and we don't want someone. And you need to be honest in life. We need to be honest. Sometimes, yes, being honest can be seen by others as we have no tact. I recognize that sometimes I have no tact. My kids have tell me, and I try to work on that. But I'd rather be that person than someone that is gonna tell you, "Oh, you look beautiful," but then in the back of my mind, just to make you feel good. Pittiness is something that is not. It doesn't go with me.
No, I think it is important to be honest, and especially when we're going through the grieving process, we need to say how we're feeling and what we need so that people know, because people don't want to hurt you. They don't want you to be miserable and be in pain. They want to help, and you have to tell them how to do it because they don't know. Like they say the wrong things and they do the wrong things, and they need
Yes.
us to tell them. I was going to say, when you were saying about, your mother saying that, the baby's in another place, with probably with God and all this, I'm actually Christian, and my son actually said to me, that we should name the baby Joy, that we lost. And I was like, why? Why Joy? And in my head, I'm thinking, this is crazy. And then my son's like, because it looks at me like I should know this, because the baby would be joyful in heaven with Jesus,
Yes.
like with God, and
Yes.
that's so true.
It
And
is.
it healed a part of me, um you know and just remembering that, like, if you are a believer, then you know that your child is with God, it's with the creator, so you know they they would be quite happy. I mean, you're still sad, you want them with you, obviously, but there is this slight bit of like contentment-ish that the baby is in a happy place. But yeah, it takes time to get there, doesn't it?
Of course, Ella. It takes time because we are human. I always believe, and I think that we are just spiritual beings living a human life. It's not easy to be human. I even tell my kids it's something I believe completely, 100% in karma and reincarnation. We come back to perfectionate ourselves until we are really in home with God or that higher power. Mm, and I tell my kids, listen, I want to live this life, and I try my best to live every day of this life as it is the last one, because when and trying to be also a good person, not perfect. There is people that I don't like. There is people that don't like me. That's human. It's a part of being human. But I try my best to be a good person, kind person, honest, respectful of other people, thinking, not forceful. I don't like to force people to think the way I think. Or I will never tell you, for example, oh, because you like that, oh, I cannot be your friend. That's judgmental. That basically is telling you, oh my God, so if you don't think like me, I'm not gonna be your friend. That's ridiculous. And this is what is happening today in the world. Totally. So, but I try my best because I have, and I pray to God every day. The day I'm gone, I don't want to come back. Enough. You gave me enough lessons. I'm gonna clean the poopy of the stars. I want to be the janitor of the universe. Leave me there close to you. That's my place. So I'm gonna try to live the best life possible, giving the best of me to everyone. So when I'm gone, I don't need to come back. And I have it clearly. And then my two daughters are like, Mom, but you are crazy. No, I'm not crazy. This is the way I think. And this is how I see it. And I have it, right? And when you pray to God, I believe so, when you pray for something strongly and with faith, things are given to you, period.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's so true. And like, in terms of like having faith, and I mean, that's such an anchor, having faith. Like my faith has definitely anchored me in, um and it's something that I've used to try and help with my relationship with my husband, because he was similar to your husband, except he didn't actually really feel the loss. So he actually has such a strong safety mechanism in his like subconscious mind because of childhood and just him. He has this protection. And he said, you know, I want to feel it. Like I want to. I just don't. Like and I don't want you to hurt, and that hurts me that you're hurting, but I can't connect.
Yes.
And I just brought up the story of Jesus and how Jesus cried when Lazarus died. And he was like, that's so true. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, Jesus showed us the way to behave when someone dies. Like when someone dies, you cry. And when a baby dies, you know, someone's died. So we're supposed to cry. That's that's the thing to do, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. But yeah, I think there is a very backward way of thinking in terms of society, because yeah, they're told, like men are told, be strong and don't be emotional. But then
Yes.
feel it. And there's so many guy things now, like for loss. Like I've been seeing a lot more like podcasts and like groups and all sorts of stuff that's starting to pop up, which is fantastic. And there are heaps of them. There are 7 men in this summit, this event.
Wow.
7 men.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll link some of their stuff down below as well, some of their podcasts and things. But seriously, like there is some really great, male orientated support there. So yeah, if your husband wanted to like, tap into any of that, or you knew any men that need to tap into that, there's so much that's growing now. I think there's even a book now, like for men, for loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
The IVF that, and I love that, Ella, because in today crazy world, that all that is happening, one of the things that I have seen is they want to really kind of eliminate this conception of men and women as it is, as God created us. Nothing, I respect everybody. You can do whatever you want, but what I can't accept is that they come and try to force our children to believe things that they are not. So I love the fact that today in our fertility community, there is more men coming and, breaking that fear. I am also human. I have feelings. And you know what? I was the factor in my fertility journey. It was not my wife, or it was not my partner, and she was the one that had to go through all the hell, even though I have the issue. Because even when the men have the issue, we are the ones that go through the hardest part. And it's beautiful to see now men supporting us and also being a part of this incredible community that is growing more and more, and we must support each other. So I really love the fact that you say 7 men. That's, oh my God, that's a great number. Usually before they will run away and, oh, I'm not the problem, because of the way they're raised. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping to get a few more, maybe not before the event, but definitely after, because I'm going to be carrying on the podcast and carrying on doing more events, hopefully. And yeah, so it's definitely something that I want to continue. I've really found it quite healing to speak with men about loss, and because they have insights, they have things that they do and that they've tried to help them move through their loss, and it's so validating. It's really helpful, just getting the different kind of ways of dealing with things. And I mean, one guy said, oh, I just bench press. Work out. And I was like, that's brilliant. I love that. That's so
Yes.
But everyone has a different way of dealing and coping with loss, and I think it's so important for us all to share as much as possible. So thank you so much for sharing and coming here and being part of this, and even sharing about your husband as well, because I know it can be hard to share about marriage, especially when
Yes.
you've been been with your husband for so long, and then there are these major ups and downs. I've been with my husband for 13 years. We met in high school, and that's where our relationship started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we moved in together soon after, and we were married within 5 years. So it's
Wow, yeah.
it's been quite a journey, and lots of ups, lots of downs. And so I totally get it. Like, when you go through things together, like he went through my depression stage with me, and that was a tough few years. I want to say
Absolutely.
it was long.
No, Ella, and it's in the bad times when you really can see if there is true love in that relationship or not. Don't get me wrong. We love many people in the world. We love our kids. We love our parents. We love our family. We love our husband. Each love is so different. But when you are with someone whom you have decided to build a family, have children, it's not easy. It's not easy, and the bumps will come. And I think that the main thing is to know how to handle, give it a chance, as long as there is love. Because if the love is gone, I am the one that says, okay, if you stop to love someone, then there is no way. You can be friends, but not living with that person. I will try to talk with my husband, because I would like him to be part of your podcast even after the event. Because believe it or not, he's not. He deleted all his social media. But I would like him to participate, because I think a point of someone that has gone through with his wife too, and all of that, will be great. I will let you know. I'm going to try to convince him.
It's okay if you can't. We do our best,
Yes, of course.
Sometimes they just don't want to cooperate. That's fine. I managed to get my husband to say yes. I was like, I'm doing the event, so you kind of have to. Yeah, you're my husband.
Yes.
He was like, okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's one of those things with marriage. It is really hard and really complicated, and it isn't just happily ever after. It's a lot of work, and I think the main thing is communication. I mean, for me, I think sometimes it can get really rocky, and maybe you question love. You can question love. But
absolutely.
as you've got that communication, as long as you're talking to each other, I think that means that you still care, and you're gonna be able to make it through if you continue to talk. Yeah, it's when they really shut off and they're like, we're not talking at all, and they're not willing to have any conversation, and
Yes.
it's like a long journey to that.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all right. So yeah, my husband and I, we had this agreement from the very beginning, that we were going to work on everything together, that we were going to talk, and we were going to communicate, and we were going to, point out our faults to each other and work on that. And
Yes.
we've stayed true to that to this day. But yeah, sometimes it's been pretty hard, especially when I'm doing something, he's like, you're doing a thing, and you need to sort that out. And I say the same to him, because it's confronting, it's hard, and you're like, well, can't you just love me the way I am? But then you're like, oh, I probably should work on that, like I do. It's probably not.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not easy, and it's a day by day work, and it's sacrifice too. And it's like you say, communication is the key. And as long as there is communication, definitely is love. But when you stop to talk, and there is no communication, then there is an issue there, definitely.
Yeah, got to communicate, got to keep that up. And even if your partner's worried to talk to you, maybe just open up the doorway and just say, look, whatever you're thinking or feeling, I want to know, and it's okay, whatever it is. I'll accept whatever it is. And you have to stick with that. Like, you have to stand by that. Like, if they tell you they don't feel anything, you have to deal with that. And if they tell you they feel something but they don't want to talk about it right now, but they will later, again, you have to accept that too. But yeah, maybe that'll help if you sort of say something like that, like, I just want to know something, give me something.
Exactly, and that's so important. Absolutely.
So, before we go, is there anything that you want to sort of say to anyone, or any advice that you'd want to give to anyone, like relationship wise, going through loss, anything really, that you feel that might actually help anyone?
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to relationship, of course, we need a relationship to be able to build a family. So all in one package is wherever you are in this moment, right now in your journey, don't give up. Don't give up in motherhood or parenthood. You as a couple, if you are struggling, I know myself is difficult. I've been there. I know that I went through 5 cycles. I have been meeting people that went through 16 cycles and still are not parents. But if that flame of energy is there, don't give up. Don't give up on your relationship. Don't give up on being a parent. Don't give up on that, because it's very, very important to realize that there is a higher power, call it God, call it whatever you call it, that is there and is living in our hearts. Feel your feelings. If you want to scream, if you want to cry, if you are sad, allow yourself to feel that feelings. But with all of that, always keep in mind that hope is there, and somehow you're going to get to whatever you are focused to get.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's good to be driven when you have that spark.
Absolutely.
And
Never let the fork get off.
yeah, and when you know that, you know, it's time and you've had enough, you'll know. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to consider
No,
that until that door, you know, you're ready to close that door, and you'll know when, you know. And
absolutely.
hopefully, I pray that it will be at the point where you actually have had your baby or your rainbow, or maybe you adopted or something, whatever it is, to become a parent as you wish to. But if you have to close that door and you don't have that, then that's okay. And just be okay in knowing that you did everything you possibly could. Because anyone in this space, I can safely say, like, all of you women are amazing, and you've done as much as you possibly can. Like, I've seen women stick needles into themselves, and I'm just like, I can't do that personally.
You are so right, because there is moments, and I have a friend that she was super eager to have babies. The husband, they tried, and there was a moment that she said, you know what, it's not happening, and what it's doing to me is more struggle. So she chose to be thankful for all what she did up to that point, close the door and say, okay, where my light is taking me now, live life. And you have no idea, she blessed the kids that she couldn't have. She said, maybe in another time, in another life. And I choose to live the life with my husband. And they're having the funnest thing in their life. So it's not about, when I say don't let that light turn off, means even if you decide, that's it, I'm done with this because it's bringing me a lot of suffering, that light can be still on to continue another path. So you choose a path, okay, like you said, I did everything possible. I did the best from me. Now let me live life, because living life is not only about, okay, I'm going to be staying there in that path, suffering and suffering. No, suffering is a choice. Suffering is a choice. So we choose. We are humans. Yes, we feel pain, we feel happiness, but we choose. And there is a moment that if our light is telling us, okay, let's close this door, but my light is guiding me here, that's my choice, and I choose that. You are so right. Thank you for reminding that.
Be led by hope. I think that's really important. It's such a mindset thing, you know. I've spoken to quite a few women who have that little glimmer of hope, and that's what they hold on to. And I think that really is powerful in terms of just feeling like you're going to be okay and having something to hold on to. And if you don't have that glimmer of hope, it's there. You just need to look for it.
Tell me about it. Like I told you when I was looking the less painful ways to die, and suddenly I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay, I choose not to. I don't want to end in a crazy house. So yes, is there? Trust me.
Yeah, and we all have our limits, and being in a crazy house, I think, is most people's definite limit. Like, you don't want to go there. Like,
No, don't.
place that you want to end up. So let's all just stay alive and know that we're not alone and that we're here. And Monica has experienced so much. And if you're in that dark pit right now, she can totally help you. She's been there. She understands what it's like. And you don't have to be on your own. You don't have to go through this journey on your own. There's so many women now, so many amazing women who are helping women get through this. So thank you so much, Monica, for being one of those women and being a voice in this space and helping, because we all really do need some help.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Ella, so much for honoring me to be in your place, in your space, in your podcast, in your summit. And as you say, I am here for whomever wants to reach out. I always answer my emails personally or my messages in Instagram or Facebook. If it takes time, please understand. Sometimes they get buried, so I go one by one. But I am always here because I know how difficult it can be. And I always believe that there is, when you reach to someone that has gone through that hell that you are going, it's even much easier because you can receive more insight. So I'm here for you, and thank you again. You honor me to be your guest in your space. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your day.
You
Bye.
too, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Please note that all speakers, including experts and professionals, express information, views, and opinions that should not be used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical conditions. If you have a medical issue, please consult a qualified professional. Speakers voice their own views, opinions, and conclusions, and they may not reflect the views, opinions, and conclusions of other speakers. Ella Rose, The Joy of Sunflowers, and its sponsors may not endorse all or any of the views, opinions, or conclusions expressed.